Hi there, everyone. I'm Ashley Billington, and welcome into the Campfire. This week, we're going to the west side of the Metroplex to break down 4-5A Division 2. And first off, we have our film session presented by Cricket Wireless.
Grapevine went undefeated in 4-5A Division 2 and expect a goose egg in the loss column again this year. The Mustangs have a ground attack that will be hard to stop in 2021. Caleb Tejada has already pocketed 2 years as the starting tailback and should eclipse 3,000 career yards after his senior campaign. Parker Polk is just a junior and will be mostly a pass catcher this year, but expect him to fill in as a running back as he was the district newcomer of the year. On defense, Jack Yarber returns as the unanimous all-district defensive back. Out of Fort Worth ISD teams, look for Southwest to stake claim to a playoff spot as well. The Raiders have the best defensive player in the district in Philip Bradford. Southwest lost a lot to graduation, so the offense will need a learning curve. Polytech will also have a monster on defense. In defensive end, Shamar Johnson, who had 6 sacks as a freshman. Northside has been a great story the last 2 years as they made the playoffs for the first time since 1979, but the Steers could be looking to take a step back this year. 2 teams to keep an eye out of Fort Worth could be ODY and South Hills. The Chaparrals loaded their starting lineup with sophomores and freshmen last year, with hopes that experience would pay off this year. And with strong-armed sophomore quarterback Cade Barrett back with a year under his belt, this could be the season the Chaps make it to postseason. As for South Hills, they bring back running back Chris Clayton, who almost got 1,000 yards last season. Creekview introduces Tony Castillo as their new head coach, and he'll be relying on D1 recruit Sean Solis to move the offense at the tight end position. With low numbers, Trimble Tech will struggle with depth again, but will try to snag a win or two in district play.
The film session is presented by Cricket Wireless. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Some really great potential in this district for 4-5A Division 2. And that potential comes from the amazing players. Let's introduce you to a few of them and our players on the rise.
Caleb Tejada has been on the scene for what seems like a decade, but the Grapevine senior running back is looking to have quite the encore season. Tejada rushed for 1,218 yards and 15 touchdowns last year and has accumulated almost 2,000 yards in his career. He's a small back at 5'7", but if he gets in the open field, it's trouble. Without an experienced quarterback this year, look for Tejada to carry the load for the Mustangs. Parker Polk is another offensive weapon for Grapevine. As a sophomore, he was the district newcomer of the year as he played a little receiver and a little running back. As receiver, he caught 36 passes for almost 500 yards and 4 scores. Polk also scored a couple of times in the Wildcat. If that wasn't enough, Polk also made his mark in the special teams as well. Tejada and Polk will be the 1-2 punch that is hard to guard. At Carrollton Creekview, Sean Solis has developed into one of the area's best tight ends. For a Mustang team that did not throw that often, Solis was the go-to guy. He caught 34 passes for 600 yards and 8 scores and was a solid blocker in the run game. Solis is getting D1 looks from Connecticut, Georgia Tech, and Liberty, among others. On the defensive side of the ball, there may not be a better athlete in the district than Philip Bradford at Southwest. Bradford is a beast of a defensive end at 6'5" and 255 pounds. The junior gets off the edge quickly and is on the quarterback before he knows what hit him. He's nicknamed the Joker, and that may be because it's a joke if you think you can contain him an entire game.
Wouldn't want to meet some of those guys on the gridiron. And with those great players, they're being molded and shaped by strong men who are leading these teams as their head coaches. And this week in our Media Day segment, Ward Fasold talks to Zach Chris of OD Wyatt.
Okay, it's Media Day. We're talking 4A Division 2, and we are joined by OD Wyatt head coach Zach Chris. Coach, thank you very much for joining us this morning. We want to dive right into this district because last year it was Grapevine, and then there's a little bit of distance, and then everybody else. And what do you think the Fort Worth teams have to do, and OD Wyatt and specifically to catch up to Grapevine and maybe grab a playoff spot as well?
It had a lot to do with experience. A lot of our teams were inexperienced teams. I mean, speaking of mine, I started 7 freshmen last year. With COVID being in, numbers played a big role in everything that happened last year. And a lot of our schools' numbers were down. But just judging by the spring and talking to the other coaches in Fort Worth, our numbers are going back up. We have a good prospect for next year, and we look at being more competitive next year.
Excellent. And you talked to one of the freshmen you threw out there was the leader, the quarterback, right? The big time position. And Cade Barrett has been getting a lot of recognition just for his raw talents here as a freshman. Talk about how you feel about that player in general, and then how he might progress through his next 3 years, because you got him for a 4-year starter, it looks like.
Oh, yeah. I feel great about Cade. He's going to be one of the best quarterbacks that not only we had at OD White High School. Cade is going to be one of the best quarterbacks ever come out of Fort Worth and the DFW area. He has a big-time arm. Cade threw for 2,000 yards last year. He has a good temperament for a freshman. You know, he didn't let things rattle him. He didn't get upset and fall apart. He would often come to the sideline and want to know, Coach, what did I do wrong? Or, Coach, what can we do to make this better? Towards the end of the season, he started to do those quarterback things like lead the team. Come over to, hey, Coach, I see this, and let us know what he's starting to see. And at that point, we knew that he had the makings of being a great quarterback, because he does want to be a leader. He does want to do the job right, and he does work hard.
You can't teach experience, so we'll be out there to catch you this season, and good luck, and thank you for joining us today.
All right, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Coach Chris, for joining us here on the Campfire. You can catch the entire interview with the OD Wyatt main man on our social media accounts on Thursday. We've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Now it's time for the district breakdown and the one and only Professor Diggs.
All right, look who's here. It's my main man, Matt Diggs from theoldcoach.com. And if he's here, that means we're talking about 4-5A Division II. And that is all about Fort Worth ISD, Carrollton Creekview, and the team everybody's shooting for, which is Grapevine. Talk to me about how you think this district may play out this year.
Yeah, this is Grapevine's district. I mean, there are a lot of contenders and pretenders, but at the end of the day, and we talk about it in several districts, it's a team and everybody else. In this case, it's Grapevine and everybody else. Grapevine does have to find a new quarterback, and I think that's going to be crucial to their success, their ability to have a new quarterback come in and transition. But they have such a good infrastructure around whoever that quarterback will be. One of my favorite players of the whole class of next year is going to be Caleb Tejada. I mean, this is a special kid. And if you're a player watching this, go look at his Twitter. He does it right. He advertises himself. He is approachable. He is team first. I mean, he is a dream. And I could just say it. We could spend the whole segment talking about Caleb Tejada. Love the guy. He's coming back, all district running back, and he is going to be a force. But that doesn't mean there's not going to be good drama in the rest of the district. I think this is a fun district to watch because of the parity we're going to have in the rest of the teams. I think you have 5 teams legitimately looking for the last 3 playoff spots. I really like Forest Southwest. I mean, they have probably the number 1 talent in the whole district in Philip Bradford. I mean, this is a guy who is just absolute beast mode in multiple sports. So Forest Southwest is a team, and they played Grapevine the best last year. So I think that Southwest is right there. I like Forest Poly. I've always had a spot in my heart for Forest Poly. Shamar Johnson, as a freshman, really got on people's radars, and he's going to be coming back as a sophomore. Unfortunately, one of our favorite stories, Ward, was Forest Northside the last couple of years. I have them kind of trending down, and I think Forest South Hills and Forest White are going to be kind of the 2 teams fighting for that playoff spot.
Next week, we'll talk 5A Division II, and you know who you're going to talk about there. So,
oh yeah,
the old Bearcats. So we'll talk to you next week.
See you next week, Ward.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Diggs and Wizzy, for your great insight on 4-5A Division II. I like getting to watch these teams since I am from the west side of the Metroplex. We've got a ton of great content coming to you on our social media accounts all week long. We've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And next week, we will be going into 5-5A Division II. And you know who's in that district. But until then, I'm Ashley Bullington, and thank you so much for watching The Campfire.